Hello fellow guitar geeks, welcome to my Hammertone FLANGER video. So I'm making a video on all the new Hammertone series from Fender. There's overdrive, distortion, metal, there's chorus, there's delay, there's loads of them. There's 9 in fact, and there's one for each and every pedal. And you're watching the one for the flanger. Flanger. The 𝗨𝗏𝗡𝗏, and it's jet whooshy and swooshy, and I didn't know exactly how I was going to make a video for it. Then I plugged it in and realized it's a lot of fun. So I'll explain the knobs and switches in a moment, but first I'm going to get my top 5 tones from the Hammertone series Flanger from Fender. Now, I'll admit the flanger is not one of my go-to effects, but this pedal is very fun and it's not very expensive. It's coming in at around €85 or $99, which puts it as the more expensive of the Hammertone range. Some are coming in at $70, so about €65, and the flanger is one of the more complicated pedals. And I guess that's what you're paying for, so more complications, more engineering, more money. Right, I would explain how the pedal works, just in case you've never met a flanger before, or you want to know exactly how this Hammertone series version works. Actually, before I explain how the pedal works and how you can operate it, let's talk about what flanging is for a moment. Flanging and flangers is one signal split into 2, and then the pedal sending the original signal unaltered, plus a second signal which is slightly slowed down. So when I'm talking about all the knobs and stuff, it's affecting that second signal. It gives this whooshing, swooshing sound. And it was used by Les Paul, famously, I think first, when he was messing around with tape recorders, and then by John Lennon and George Martin with the Beatles when he was automatically double-tracking the vocals and giving this sort of almost phasery sound. But there is a difference between phaser and flanger, which I won't go into now. But basically, flanging is slowing down one of 2 signals. So you've got the original and the slowed down. Now, I hope that's okay. It's just a basic 101 flanger. It's a 9-volt pedal. There's a battery compartment inside, and there's a 9-volt cable just here. There's in and out on the top, so we've got top-mounted jacks. Then we'll ignore these 2 switches for a moment. We'll talk about these 3 knobs. At the top, we've got manual, which is the time of the delay. So if you remember, I said that you've got the original signal plus 1 slowed down. This is the delay time, so how much it's delayed by. Then you've got the rate, so the frequency from 0.1 Hz to 10 Hz of that delayed signal. And then down here is the depth, which is basically how sweepy it is, from 0% all the way up to 100% sweepiness. Obviously, it's more fun to play it than just talk about it, but let's explain the switches, then we'll get onto some knob manipulation. So the res switch is for resonance, or think of it as intensity. So up here we've got the maximum intensity, then the medium intensity, then just a light intensity. Up there makes the effect more apparent, and down here makes it just a little bit more chorusy. And this is adjusting the feedback polarity. So up gives us a positive polarity, making it more harmonic, and down gives us a negative polarity, making it less harmonic. So if all of that meant nothing to you, I will play it now so we can hear the differences. But basically, with both those switches up, it's going to be more swooshy and whooshy. And then the more depth you have, and the more rate you have, and the more manual have, the more swooshy whooshy it is. Right, okay. It's really easy to overuse this. That's what I did in one of those samples where I was just fluffing around. Sounds awful, awful, or good. Stick with some delay. This is the Fender Hammertone delay just on. And suddenly we're in Doctor Who territory. Anyway, let's put the resonance, let's keep the resonance at maximum so we can really hear the difference, and I will sweep through the manual time. Those are going to be about halfway just so we can hear the difference of keeping it musical basically. I've got it on positive polarity with maximum resonance so we can really hear the difference. I'm going to set the depth to about halfway, and then that to low, and then we'll just check out the manual speed. Just with that briefly. And with. Checking out the rate. When we get into modulation like phaser and rotary and flanger and all that, there is, and chorus, there's also a lot of similarity in this area. I think the flanger covers quite a bit of rotary, quite a bit of chorusy, and quite a bit of flangery, funnily enough. Anyway, let's go maximum rate. Not the best way to use a flanger. It is quite fun though. And let's go with the depth. So depth at minimum. You can just hear a slight warble there. That's nice, we're still in subtle territory. I like that. So when you have either the depth really low or the rate really low, you just get this little slow, little manipulation of the sound. So without... I think that's lovely. Let's just mess with the resonance. Well, hang on. Let's make it 𝗬𝗓𝗏𝗡𝗏. Okay, again, it's these levels of subtlety, which I'm not very good at. I tend to overcook a flanger a little bit. But yeah, type is important. Let's have a listen to the type. This is so unmusical. I'm sorry, but you can hear the different types of sounds, of course. That's nice. That's kind of throaty. I can hear the robotics coming in. If I tip the resonance down. I like it. I'm not sure currently if I would pay 85 euros for it because I personally don't use it. If you combine that with like a delay and a nice spacey reverb, then you might be into some noise making. For doing it with like overdrive and stuff when you want for Eddie Van Halen, that's not really my territory, but I'll try and cook something up for you now using either the Distortion or the Metal, also from the Hammertone series. Given that wasn't very Eddie Van Halen, that was more like a cheap Keith Richards playing through Eddie Van Halen's rig. But that's that difference between the flanger going into the metal, by the way, the Hammertone metal, and then having the flanger off. It just gives it that slight warble, that sort of, that it's more of a feel for me if you're using it. Oh, I almost said if you're using it correctly. What I mean is if you're not using it as an insane, all-out, wacky, wobbly, spacey pedal. If you're using it with some musicality, then it just adds a little bit of nuance. Is that the right word? Yeah. In fact, let's hear that again through my 3 amps. I've got the Fender Deluxe Reverb, the Marshall SV20, which is the plexi one, and then a Katana set to clean. So let's go for Fender Deluxe Reverb, which is what I've used for the majority of this video so far. So Fender first. Marshall. Katana. I think the takeaway is that it sounds good through all 3 amps. I prefer it through the Fender. There's just that extra little bit of Fenderiness, that brightness that's coming to the sound. Basically, that's because of the metal pedal, which I've done another video for. So if you want to watch the metal review, then there's links in the video description, or you can click the playlist at the end of this video, which will be on screen somewhere. Not now, a little bit later. But yeah, the Marshall is very gritty, and the Katana's set to clean. That's nice, but the Fender Deluxe Reverb is for me where it's at with the flanger. Right, let's put the guitar down and open up the pedal. It is, let's turn off the amp first so we don't get all crackling. As far as I know, there are no micro trim pots in here. But if you haven't seen any of my other videos, you'll notice that you can open this pedal with a coin, which is great. And I'll say it again, as I said in pretty much every other Hammertone video, more pedals should have an easy access thing on the back. So if you do need to open it up for any reason, you don't need to go and run and grab a screwdriver. You can just borrow a coin from the richest person near you. There are 0 trim pots that I can see. There's a little thing there. I wonder what that does. A little connector. Hang on. It says ground 5DA 5CL VCC. Okay, so you should be able to fiddle around with that and mod it in some way. But there are no trim pots. Woohoo! I'm not a fan of trim pots because you have to open it up and get inside, and there's enough going on this pedal already before you even start trimming pots and potting trims. Anyway, let's review it. I'll review it as I put it back together. The Hammertone flanger is not my favourite of the bunch, mainly because I don't flange very often. I am not a flanger. and I'm not a flangee either. However, I've played several flanges in my life, and this seems to be quite an in-depth one. So there's quite a range of wibbly-wobbly, spacey, timey-wimey stuff to actually nice, subtle, usable things that I like with just a little bit of drive and some chord work, just to give that tone a little bit of interesting tone, you know what I mean? So it's not just a little bit of drive, there's a little bit of modulation on that drive as well. And having the resonance thing on there is great because you can instantly, without changing any of the settings, going for something quite strong to something very subtle or somewhere in the middle. And then the type. I guess if the flange isn't working for you, if you're not getting what you want, you just flip the polarity and it changes that sound maybe to something you like, maybe to something to make you realize that you preferred the first one. But this being one of the more expensive pedals, I don't see this as being the biggest seller in the range. There isn't a phaser, and you can get some phasey sounds with this. There isn't a phaser in the Hammertone series, I'm trying to say. And you can get some phasey tones with this. So if you're looking for a phaser, then that does phasey things. It also does a bit of chorusy stuff as well. So I think you're getting more than just a one effect in a pedal. It's not just a one-trick pony. It does many things that other flanges also do. But this is not just a rate of feedback and all that stuff. You've got a lot going on. I sounds like I'm... What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is I'm pleasantly surprised by the range of subtle phasing sort of sounds to the full-on wobble that I feel I need a delay pedal with to make some wacky and weird sounds, which I'll mess around with in the delay pedal video, which you can watch at your leisure. Well, I'm very curious as to what you think. I think there's a lot of sounds in this pedal, but it is one of the more expensive pedals, and I guess because there's more going on, there's more components. That's my guess, and there's definitely two switches that weren't on the overdrive, for example. The overdrive's just 4 knobs. You get an extra, well, 1 less knob and 2 little switches. And no trim pots on this one. But yeah, let me know in the comment section if you flange, and if you do, what you thought of some of the sounds I got with this pedal. And that, my geeky friend, is the end of the video, which means you've made it to the end of the video club, and to prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, when you leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of this flange, please also include the phrase, to flange or not to flange? That is the question. Even if you don't flange, it's just fun to say and write down. In fact, when you type it, say it as well. And experience the pleasure I get from saying flange. Flange. Right, and also when you do that, it increases my chance of someone else seeing this video because there's more engagement with the video. See, I'm honest, but I'm also trying to take your engagement from you. Anyway, that is it from me and the flanger from the Hammertone series from Fender. There is the whole playlist over there if you want to watch the other pedals in the range. I've got 1 per video, 9 pedals in total. Otherwise, subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Take care of each other, and flange. Bye-bye.